Diencephalon is a deeper portion of the brain attached to the cerebrum. What we're talking about now is this sort of middle portion right in here. It's called the diencephalon. And the diencephalon has three major regions: the epithalamus, the thalamus, and the hypothalamus. Now we'll revisit this later this evening. The epithalamus is a very small region of the brain. I probably can't even show it to you on our models because it's so small, but I'll show it to you in a picture. And it contains a little gland called the pineal gland. You can actually see it on our sheep brains. When you do your sheep brains, you'll see it there. The pineal gland is the part of our brain which is responsible for our body clock. It secretes a substance called melatonin, and it keeps us on more or less a 24-hour cycle. When we change our clocks twice a year, spring ahead and fall back, the pineal gland gets messed with a little bit, and some people have a harder time than others adjusting to that just 1 hour difference. So we won't talk much about the epithalamus. The thalamus and the hypothalamus are very important. The thalamus is a sensory relay and processing area. I'll show you where it is in a minute. And the hypothalamus is one of these housekeeping areas. See, it says visceral control, which means sort of gut control. Motions, autonomic functions, hormone production. It's a link between the nervous system and the endocrine system. So we don't consciously think about a lot of what goes on in the thalamus and the hypothalamus. Right? It's done for us by the neurons in that area, sort of housekeeping, as I like to call it. The mesencephalon is considered part of the brain stem. The functions there are visual and auditory processing and involuntary motor responses. There's some specific names you'll get in this area as well. For example, visual and auditory information, that part of the brain, something that you are well aware of, something called the startle reflex is located there. So if you guys were taking a test and all busy doing something, and I took my stick and slammed it on the bench, and everybody would have, be startled, that part of your brain is what's responsible for that. So visual processing, auditory processing occurs there, and involuntary motor responses occur there. There's a response that humans have. It's called the hypnic response. You have experienced it, although you probably didn't know what the name for it is. It's that response that hits us every so often when we're just falling to sleep, and you get that jerk, that startle, right? It's almost like a short circuit, but it really isn't, right? That originates in that part of the brain as well. There's all kinds of debate on why that happens, and it doesn't happen every day and stuff like that. Actually, I can remember maybe just a couple of nights ago it sort of happened to me. As I got that startle thing, and it almost scares you for a second, and then you go, okay, I'm going to sleep. And so that's a weird one, but it's also probably processing in the midbrain. Consciousness, maintenance of consciousness is also involved in that area as well. I'll show you where all these are in just a minute. The